Thank you very much. السيدات والسادة الأفاضل المحترمون، السيدات والسادة في مؤسسة سانتياغو.
Ladies and gentlemen, community of Sant'Egidio, the organizers of this conference. From this wheelchair, I give you the greetings of the children of the Iraqi minorities, together with sadness and incredible pain. You are doubtless aware of what has happened to the children of the minorities in Iraq, starting in the month of August. But you do not know the details of what has happened. The terrible crimes that were committed against a peaceful community, the Yazid community. This community in its religious and social culture knows neither violence nor murder. The Yazid religion was one of the most ancient in Mesopotamia, and its origins go back to the 3rd millennium before Christ. What happened to the Yazids in Sinjar due to the contemporary most dangerous terrorist organization is incompatible with what happens in the 3rd millennium. Dear brothers and sisters, there are 400,000 Yazid migrants who have left their homes, their lands, who live today in Kurdistan. On the streets, there are about 3,000 people who were killed. In part, they were killed by ISIS, and in part, they died. They died of hunger and of thirst in the first days of fleeing on the mountains of Sinjar. About 5,000 people have been kidnapped, men, women, children, families. Hundreds of girls were sold and raped and considered as slaves, and according to ISIS, they have the absolute right to treat them in this manner. Dozens of girls were sold in the markets of Mosul for $150 per girl. Approximately 300 girls were sold in Syria, and the cases of violence continue. You know, ladies and gentlemen, that ISIS retreated from the village of Asiba Sheikh Qadr without fighting about 3 weeks ago. Because of the smell of the children of the Yazid religion, men, women and children who had been killed. In the village of Kojo, there was a terrible massacre. ISIS had surrounded a village where approximately 2,000 Yazids live. Some had somehow been able to run away. The others were first forced to choose between Islam and being slaughtered. And no one has intervened. And so this terrorist organization has attacked the village, killed 413 people, men, young people, even 13-year-old boys. The others, men and children, were taken away, and we do not know where they have been taken. No one was expecting that this organization would do all this to the Yazids, the Yazidis. They were all gathered into one of the holy places of the Yazids, and the place was burnt to ashes. The mountain of Sinjar has been through another tragedy, and I was the witness of all this. 25,000 families had sought refuge in the mountains of Sinjar, suffering from the extreme heat thirst and hunger. And in the meanwhile, ISIS continued to bomb them with missiles. For 10 days, they lived this tragedy on the mountain. 250 children died, newborn babies, due to the drought, and many people died because they ate the leaves off the trees. Elderly people have died because of hunger, of thirst. Tens and tens of people have died. What has happened in Sinjar? Every tree in Sinjar has seen what had happened, and everyone has cried and wept in front of what has happened. People died of thirst. Young boys, young men and women, the women who were raped and sold to criminals. We Yazidis have been subject to 72 attempts of genocide. And now we have come to number 73. Today I speak of families who have been exterminated, entire families which have been kidnapped. Hundreds of children have lost their fathers and mothers. Many of them have lost all the members of their families. The Yazidis in the history have never attacked anyone. We have always been the victim. We have always paid the price, the dearest price, the highest price, because we are different from the majority of the population because of our religious belonging. And so, brothers and sisters, I call upon the international community through this conference, and the people who are present here today, I ask the international community to make a quick decision in order to free more than 5,000 men, women and children who were kidnapped by ISIS, and hundreds of girls that are raped every day. I call upon the international authorities, the Committee for Human Rights of the UN, to start an inquiry on the slaughter and massacre that the Yazidis have been subject to. We demand that the Yazidis who want to seek for asylum in countries of the Western world may be helped, and we ask the international community to create an international protection force in order to stop violence against minorities in Iraq and in all regions where these minorities live, give weapons to the minorities to defend themselves from these terrorists. On behalf of humanity, in the name of humanity, help more than 500,000 refugees that have fled from the Nineveh plains and from Mosul. We ask that this may be a sign of peace for the future, that we may say no to extremism and hope in the future. Thank you very much. I am a member of the Iraqi Parliament.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Et chers amis, nous voulons...
Dear friends,